And this is where the story finds its meaning, not in the noise you avoided, not in the arguments you refused, not in the words you held back, but in the person you became because you understood the power of silence. You learned when to speak and when not to. You learned that peace is stronger than pride. You learned that growth does not need permission or applause. Silence shaped your character when no one was watching. It strengthened your resolve in moments of doubt. It taught you that the loudest victories are often invisible. And now, as you stand here, grounded, clear, unshaken, you realize something simple and profound. You were never falling behind. You were never losing your voice. You were becoming ready to speak with wisdom, ready to act with purpose, ready to lead with substance. And when your voice finally emerges, it does not shout. It does not beg to be heard. It carries weight because it was forged in quiet. This is the end of the story, not because the journey is over, but because the lesson is complete. Silence was never empty. It was full of strength, discipline, and truth. And that is why silence, when chosen with intention, will always be the loudest answer of all. And as the journey continues, you begin to realize that silence has quietly rewritten the way you see the world. What once felt urgent now feels optional. What once demanded a reaction now barely deserves attention. You are no longer driven by impulse, but guided by intention. Silence gives you the ability to pause between stimulus and response, and in that pause, you find freedom. Freedom to choose wisdom over emotion. Freedom to act with purpose instead of pressure. Freedom to remain grounded when everything around you feels unstable. You start to understand that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness, full of awareness, full of restraint, full of strength that does not need to be displayed to be real. It becomes the place where your values are tested and proven, not through words, but through consistency. There will be times when silence asks more of you than speaking ever could. Times when holding your tongue feels harder than defending yourself. Times when walking away feels heavier than standing your ground. But each time you choose silence with intention, you choose growth over ego, peace over pride, and long-term strength over short-term satisfaction. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you become someone others trust. Not because you speak the most, but because when you do speak, it matters. Your words are measured. Your presence is steady. Your energy is calm but powerful. Silence also teaches you acceptance, not resignation, but understanding that not everything is meant to be fixed, explained, or confronted. Some things are meant to be released. Some people are meant to misunderstand you, and that is okay. Silence makes peace with what cannot be controlled. As time passes, your silence becomes part of your identity, not as absence, but as authority. People sense depth in you. They sense that you have endured, reflected, and grown. Your quiet becomes a signal of self-mastery. So you keep going, step by step, day by day, building quietly, learning continuously, becoming relentlessly. You don't rush the process, because silence has taught you that timing is everything. And when life eventually places you in moments that demand courage, leadership, and truth, you will rise not with noise, not with force, but with a presence shaped by patience and strength. Your silence will have prepared you for that moment long before it arrived, because silence was never your weakness. It was your training, it was your protection, it was your preparation. And still, the story continues, and everything that is still to come will carry the mark of what you learned in the quiet. You will move differently, speak differently, choose differently, because silence did not just shape your strength, it shaped your judgment. You will notice how unnecessary arguments no longer tempt you, how chaos no longer pulls you in, how you can stand in the middle of noise and remain untouched. That is not distance, it is mastery. Mastery over emotion, over impulse, over the need to be right instead of being at peace. Silence teaches you that true power does not announce itself. It arrives prepared, it stands firm, it lasts. While others burn themselves out trying to be seen, you endure by being solid, by being consistent, by being rooted. And when challenges rise, and they will, you won't panic. Silence has trained you for pressure. It has taught you to respond with clarity instead of fear, to think instead of react, to move forward instead of breaking down. This is where quiet strength reveals its depth. You will also realize that silence deepens your relationships. The right people will understand you without constant explanation. They will respect your quiet, not fear it. They will recognize that your silence is not distance, but intention. And those who cannot understand it will slowly fall away, making room for alignment instead of noise. In time, you will speak again, but only when your words build, heal, guide, or create. No wasted sentences, no empty reactions. When you speak, it will carry meaning because it was born from reflection. So keep walking, even when no one notices, even when it feels slow, even when silence feels heavy. It is doing its work. It is strengthening your foundation, sharpening your vision, preparing your voice. Because one day, when the moment demands it, you will not need to raise your voice. You will not need to explain yourself. You will simply stand, and that will be enough. And in that moment, you will finally understand that silence was never about being unheard. It was about becoming undeniable. And the journey continues, and that chapter continues to write itself. Every day you choose discipline over distraction, growth over gossip, purpose over pride. Silence becomes your compass, guiding you through moments where the path is unclear and the voices around you are too loud to trust. You begin to understand that silence is not about hiding. It is about refining. It strips away ego. It removes the need to impress. It leaves only what is real, what is necessary, what is strong. In that refinement, you become sharper, more intentional, more aligned with who you truly are. Silence also teaches you timing. You learn that saying the right thing at the wrong time can be just as damaging as saying the wrong thing altogether. In silence, you wait, you observe, you choose the moment that carries the greatest impact. And when that moment arrives, your words land with precision. There is a quiet confidence that grows in those who master silence. It does not rush, it does not compete, it does not compare. It moves at its own pace, rooted in self-belief rather than external noise. That confidence is unshakable because it was built without applause. As you move through this quiet strength, you realize something profound. Silence frees you. It frees you from the burden of constant explanation, from the pressure to perform, from the exhaustion of defending yourself. In that freedom, your energy multiplies, your focus deepens, your impact expands, and when the world finally slows down enough to notice, they won't ask why you were silent. They'll ask how you became so strong. They'll feel the weight of your presence, the depth of your character, the clarity of your direction. Your silence will have spoken long before your voice ever does. So continue in silence when it serves you, trust it when it challenges you, honor it when it protects you. Because silence is not something you endure, it is something you wield. And as this journey unfolds, remember, the loudest answers are not always heard with the ears. Some are felt in respect, some are seen in consistency, some are understood only in hindsight. This is the power of silence, quiet, deliberate, undeniable, and it continues step by step, moment by moment, shaping you into someone whose presence alone becomes the answer, long before a single word is spoken. And even then, the story does not end here, because silence does not close the book. It simply turns the page, and on that next page, the strength you built in quiet begins to move into the world. Not with noise, not with force, but with certainty. And that certainty carries you forward into everything that is still to come. And even after all of this, remember, silence is not a permanent state. It is a season, a powerful one, a necessary one. Just like winter prepares the ground for spring, silence prepares you for expression that actually matters. Nothing wasted, nothing lost. In silence, you stop trying to prove your worth and start living it. You no longer chase validation from people who don't understand your journey. You realize that approval is temporary, but self-respect is lasting. Silence teaches you to stand firm, even when you stand alone. There will be moments when people underestimate you because you are quiet. Let them. Underestimation is an advantage. It allows you to move freely, to grow without pressure, to build without interference. While they are busy watching the noise, you are busy becoming. Silence also protects your dreams. Not every vision needs to be spoken aloud. Some dreams grow stronger when they are kept sacred, away from doubt, envy, and careless opinions. Silence keeps your goals pure and your motivation intact. And as you continue forward, you'll notice that silence changes how you respond to failure. Instead of reacting with frustration or excuses, you reflect, you adjust, you evolve. Silence gives you the maturity to learn instead of collapse. Eventually, your presence alone will communicate what words never could. Your confidence will feel calm, not forced. Your strength will feel steady, not aggressive. Your success will feel grounded, not rushed. That is the signature of a life shaped by silence. So when the world demands noise, choose intention. When chaos invites reaction, choose restraint. When doubt expects explanation, choose progress. Because silence is not retreat, it is alignment. And one day, when someone asks how you stayed strong without speaking, how you kept moving without announcing, how you rose without shouting, the answer will be simple. You understood that silence was never about holding back. It was about becoming ready. Ready to speak with wisdom, ready to act with precision, ready to lead with substance. And until that moment fully arrives, you continue forward, quietly, steadily, unapologetically, knowing that silence is not the end of your story, but the space where your strongest chapter is still being written. And even beyond all of this, silence becomes a teacher. It teaches you patience when everything in you wants immediate results. It teaches you humility when praise is absent. It teaches you endurance when progress feels slow. In silence, you learn to trust the process without needing constant reassurance. You begin to understand that not everyone is meant to understand you in your quiet season. Some people only recognize value when it is loud, visible, and celebrated. But your journey is not built for their approval. The work you are doing in silence is laying the groundwork for impact that will speak far beyond words. Silence also separates you. It naturally distances you from unnecessary conflict, from shallow connections, from environments that thrive on noise rather than growth. It draws you closer to purpose, to discipline, to self-mastery. In that separation, you find alignment between who you are becoming, and where you are going. There is courage in staying silent when provoked, courage in choosing restraint over retaliation, courage in allowing misunderstandings to exist while you continue moving forward. That courage builds character, and character builds legacy. Loud moments may be remembered, but quiet consistency is respected. And in silence, your intuition grows stronger. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop needing constant feedback. You start trusting your inner compass. Decisions become clearer. Paths become more defined. You realize that silence removes confusion and makes space for direction. When success eventually arrives, and it will not feel accidental, it will feel earned. Built from nights of doubt, days of discipline, and long stretches where no one clapped for you. When people ask how you did it, they may not understand the power of those silent moments, but you will know that silence was your ally. So don't rush to fill every gap with words. Don't fear the quiet. Let it stretch you. Let it refine you. Let it prepare you. Because silence is where resilience is forged. It is where vision becomes unshakable. It is where strength stops needing proof. And when your voice finally rises again, it will rise with purpose. It will rise with authority. It will rise carrying the weight of experience, discipline, and truth. People will listen not because you demand attention, but because your silence already commanded respect. Until then, walk steadily, grow quietly, build relentlessly, Let the noise pass you by, because silence is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of momentum moving in the right direction. And that is why silence, chosen with intention, remains the loudest answer you will ever give. Is this conversation helpful so far? And as you continue walking in silence, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop reacting to the world, and the world begins to react to you. Your calm becomes unsettling to chaos. Your restraint becomes confusing to those who expected your downfall. Your silence becomes a statement they cannot ignore. You learn that silence is not passive. It is intentional. It is choosing depth over drama, meaning over noise. It is understanding that energy is precious and not everyone deserves access to it. When you stop explaining yourself, you start conserving power. When you stop arguing, you start advancing. Silence also sharpens discernment. You begin to notice patterns, intentions, and truths that were once hidden behind words. You see who speaks only to be heard and who acts with purpose. You recognize that those who are constantly loud are often trying to fill an emptiness, while those who are silent are often carrying something solid within them. In silence, you master emotional control. You no longer allow anger to dictate your responses or ego to guide your decisions. You respond from clarity, not impulse. And that clarity becomes your advantage. It keeps you steady when others are shaken. It keeps you focused when others are distracted. There will be moments when silence feels uncomfortable, even lonely, when you want to speak, to be understood, to be seen. But remember this, growth is rarely noisy. Transformation does not announce itself. The strongest shifts happen quietly, internally, away from applause. And when people question your silence, let your consistency answer them. Let your discipline respond. Let your progress speak. Over time, silence builds a reputation words never could. People begin to feel your presence before you say anything. Respect replaces doubt. Curiosity replaces judgment. One day, you will look back and realize that silence protected you from battles that would have drained you, from arguments that would have delayed you, from voices that would have misled you. It preserved your peace when nothing else could. So stay silent when needed, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Not because you have nothing to say, but because, when it matters, and when that moment arrives, when your voice aligns with purpose and timing, your words will land with impact, because they were shaped in silence. Until then, let silence be your training ground, your sanctuary, your strength, because silence is not weakness. Silence is preparation. Silence is power. And sometimes silence is the loudest answer of all. You refuse to let distractions steal your focus. When you understand that not every chapter needs commentary and not every storm deserves your attention, silence becomes the space where discipline is built, where patience is strengthened, where your vision grows clearer than ever before. In that silence, you begin to hear yourself. Not the noise of expectations, not the pressure of opinions, but your own inner voice, the one that knows your worth, your direction, and your purpose. And once you hear it, you stop chasing approval. You stop explaining your dreams to people who cannot see them. You stop shrinking yourself to fit places you've already outgrown. Silence teaches restraint, and restraint is a rare kind of power. Anyone can react, anyone can shout, anyone can argue, but it takes strength to pause, to breathe, to choose peace over chaos. That pause can change everything. It can prevent regret. It can protect relationships. It can save you from becoming someone you don't recognize. And then there is the silence before growth, the quiet season where nothing seems to be happening. No applause, no recognition, no visible progress, but beneath the surface, roots are forming, foundations are being laid, skills are sharpening, strength is accumulating. Just because the world cannot see it does not mean it isn't happening. When you finally break that silence, it won't be to prove anything. It will be to create, to lead, to inspire. Your voice will carry intention, not emotion, direction. not desperation. And people will listen, not because you are loud, but because you are grounded. So embrace silence, not as an escape, but as preparation. Let it teach you when to speak and when to walk away. Let it remind you that your value does not decrease because you chose not to respond. Some of the most powerful messages in life are delivered without words, because silence is where wisdom lives. Silence is where strength grows. Silence is where you become unshakable. And when the moment finally comes, when your actions align with your purpose, when your timing is right, when your presence alone speaks, you will realize that silence was never holding you back. It was building you. Why silence is sometimes the loudest answer. There are moments in life when we feel pressured to explain ourselves, to defend our choices, to respond to every accusation, every doubt, every misunderstanding. We are taught that strength is found in speaking up, in being heard, in having the last word. But what if true strength sometimes lives in silence? Silence is often misunderstood. People assume it means weakness, fear, or surrender, but silence can be a deliberate choice. It can be wisdom refusing to argue with ignorance. It can be confidence that no longer needs validation. When you stay silent, you are not empty. You are full of clarity. Silence allows you to listen, and listening reveals truths that noise can never uncover. In a world that never stops talking, the one who pauses gains perspective. Silence gives you time to think before you act, to observe before you judge, to understand before you react. There are battles that do not deserve your voice. Not every insult needs a reply. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Sometimes the loudest answer is walking away with dignity intact. Your silence becomes a mirror, forcing others to confront their own words, their own intentions. Silence is also a form of self-respect. When you know who you are, you don't need to convince everyone else. When your actions speak with consistency and integrity, explanations become unnecessary. The strongest people are often the quietest because they are secure enough to let results speak for them. And in moments of pain, silence can be healing. It gives space for emotions to settle, for wounds to close, for strength to rebuild. Silence teaches patience. It reminds us that growth does not always happen in the spotlight. It often happens in the quiet. So do not be afraid of silence. Use it. Let it protect your peace. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it become your shield when words would only drain your energy. Because when chosen with purpose, silence is not an absence of power. It is power restrained. And there will come a moment when the world expects you to speak, when they wait for your response, when they assume your silence means defeat. But that is exactly when silence becomes the loudest answer, because it says without a single word that you have risen above the noise, that you understand something deeper, and that you are preparing for the moment when your voice will matter most. Because when you finally speak, it will not be out of anger or fear, but out of truth. And that truth will carry a weight so heavy, so undeniable, that it will echo longer than any argument ever could. Because silence is not the end. It is the pause before the power, the calm before the clarity, the space where strength is formed. And if you listen closely, you will realize that silence is not empty at all. It is full of answers, waiting for the right time to be heard. And that time comes when you understand that some messages are not meant to be shouted, but carried quietly until the moment arrives when the world is finally ready to understand that the loudest answer you can ever give is when you choose to remain silent and let your life, your growth, and your resilience speak in ways that words never could. Because the real question is not why you stayed silent, but whether you were strong enough to recognize that silence was exactly what was needed when everything inside you wanted to speak. And that is where the true power begins, right at the moment when you realize that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of purpose. And that purpose continues when